Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. So today I'm going to be doing, I'm already laughing because it's so irrelevant, but I'm going to be doing a first impressions of the Dominique Cosmetics Berries and Cream palette. I've had this palette for so long, well, not so long, but for a couple months, and haven't used it yet. I've been waiting to film with it, and I don't know what I was putting off, but I was like, I want to use it, so I'm just going to do a video on it. I'm almost positive that this is permanent. However, the last time I said that, the palette that I was talking about wasn't permanent, and I looked like a fool, and one of you kindly let me know and let everyone else know, everyone else that was watching this video, that I was just totally misleading. Anyway, so take that with a grain of salt, but I think it's permanent, okay? So this is what the palette looks like. It's really, really beautiful. I really love this. I think it's perfect for fall, which is not the season that we're in, but eventually it will be fall, and then this palette would be perfect for that time. I have tried the Rustic Glam palette by Dominique Cosmetics. I've done a first impressions, and then I also featured it in a review, so you could check those out. Will I link them down below? Maybe, probably not. But yeah, so I did like those palettes, and I'm excited to try this one as well. There's something about Dominique Cosmetics palettes that are so satisfying to just look at and hold. I think because they're just so big. But yeah, so I'm going to, let's just swatch this, right? Because why not? So I'm going to go like left to right when you look at the palette. And the first shade is the shade Warm Pie. Please excuse the bronzer on my arm that's right here, but I tried to rip it off as best I could. Anyway, the first shade is the shade Warm Pie. It's a burgundy with like gold sparkle in it. I don't love mattes with sparkle, but it seems like she likes to put shades like that in her palettes. I feel like, I don't know if I'm going to use the shade today, but I think likely if I did use this shade, I would use it as a matte, I imagine. The next shade is the shade Chocolate Mousse, and this is a deep matte brown. Actually, it does look pretty deep. And the third shade in the top row is the shade Sweet Cream, and this is a light baby pink. It's not totally matte. It looks like it's almost a satin. It's definitely not like a metallic or shimmer or anything, but it has a very slight sheen to it. Then we have the shade Toasted, which looks to be a cool toned matte. It's not brown. It's basically like, well, yeah. And this is basically like a cool toned matte brown, almost gray, but to me this looks like a cool toned brown with almost a purple undertone to it. Then is the shade Bittersweet, and this is a matte purple, blue toned purple. Very pretty. And then the last shade in the top row is the shade Soft and Sweet, and this is a matte like tan with a pink undertone. And then moving on to the second row, we have the shade Honey Dipped, which is a bronze metallic or like gold metallic. Beautiful. I really love her metallic formula. Then we have the shade Sugar Cookie, and this is a metallic light pink. Really pretty. And then we have the shade Cranberry, which is a metallic cranberry shade. It basically looks exactly the same as MAC Cranberry if you know that shadow or you have that shadow, but it looks to be a little bit more metallic. And then the last three shades, we have the shade Blueberry Muffin. This is a matte blue. Actually looks really nice. Then we have the shade Cherry Juice, which is a deep like cherry, like a deep burgundy wine that's matte. And then we have the shade Blackberry, which is a black. Ooh, that looks pretty nice too. So overall, I actually really love this color scheme. Again, maybe it's more like fall themed, but I wear any makeup no matter what time of year it is. I'm very much not a seasonal makeup wearer, but I do think this palette is really pretty. And I think it's like, it seems to be a good mix of like neutrals and some color. So I'm going to zoom you in and we can just do a look together, shall we? So I think I'm going to play with some of the colorful, well, more colorful shades today. So I'm going to start out with the shade Soft and Sweet. It's that like pinky tan color. Yeah, and same with this palette. It seems like when you dip your brush into the pans, there is quite a lot of kickback with them. I noticed that with the Rustic Glam palette. I think that's likely just like the formula of her mattes. And I'm just going to put this in my crease as a transition shade. And I did like the Rustic Glam palette. It definitely wasn't without any issues, but I enjoyed it. And so now that I have that down, it definitely looks pretty rosy toned when you actually build that shade up in the crease, or at least on me and my skin tone anyway. And next I'm going to take the shade Bittersweet, even though I basically covered it up with my hand. It's that like, it's this purpley shade. Definitely tap off the excess. And I'm going to put this in my crease in my outer corner. Okay, I really love this color. I think it's super beautiful. And so now that I have, what is that shade? The shade Bittersweet, I'm laid down. I'm just going to blend the very edges of the shadow and my crease it with a clean brush. And now I actually think I'm going to take the shade Blueberry Muffin and put this in my crease. I think because this purple does have like a little bit of blue tone in it, it's a little bit more cool toned, I think it should be fine to blend this blue shade in. And I do like this palette, I mean just like by looking at it in terms of like the colors that she chose, because it seems like you have a pretty good range of colors in terms of like doing pretty neutral looks and then also doing a little bit more colorful looks as well. And I always like when palettes have that range, and it seems like with Dominique Cosmetics palettes she does a good job of doing that in terms of like her color stories that she chooses. And I actually don't watch her. I think I've watched maybe some of the videos she's on her palettes, but I don't watch her. I'm not subscribed to her. I have no like allegiance to her as a person. Not that I'm sure Not that she does bad videos, I've never really like been super attracted to her content, but and so far these shadows do seem to be like pretty consistent with the formula in the Rustic Glam palette so far anyway. Obviously I've only tried like 3 shades so far, and I know a lot of people like, it seems like Dominique Cosmetics is like kind of like a love-hate thing. Some people really love her shadows and say that they're like their favorite formula they've ever tried. Some people think they're shit. And I feel like I fall somewhere in the middle. It's definitely not my favorite formula that I've ever tried. I don't think they're bad. I enjoy working with them. I generally haven't had issues like when I use them. If anything, it's more her color stories that draw me in. I do think her metallics are really beautiful though. And now that I've laid that blue shade down in my crease, I'm going to take the same brush that I used the shade Bittersweet on and blend the edges out, but I'm not taking any additional product. I'm just using this brush to blend. And now I'm just going to take a tap more of Bittersweet and use that to just blend around the edges of the Blueberry Muffin shade. And I'm going to take a clean brush and blend around the edges of that one more time. And that's the crease how I pretty much want it, mostly. I actually really love this crease. I think it's really pretty. Now I'm going to take the shade Cranberry, which is the Cranberry shade. I'm going to wet that, and I'm going to put that on my lid. I'm not going to cut my crease or anything, although I might have been able to, but that's okay. I've been going for a lot of like more smoky, like no cut crease looks recently, and I've been enjoying them. They definitely take less time, that's for sure. I just feel like cut creases like open my eyes so much more, and they make my eyes look so much bigger. But I have been enjoying not doing them recently. Okay, so I put that on my lid. I'm going to take, where is it? I'm going to take a touch, like just a touch of Bittersweet, the purple, blend it into the inner part of my crease a little bit more, and then I'm going to take the shade I used, or I'm going to take the brush I used the shade Blueberry Muffin on and blend around the Cranberry shade. Again, I'm not like trying to do a cut crease or anything, I'm just trying to add a little bit more definition while still maintaining the like blend and smokiness from my lid. Again, I'm going to take a touch of Bittersweet and blend it between the metallic shade and my outer corner on my lid. And I'm going to take a little bit more of the Blueberry Muffin shade and deepen up my outer corner because it's looking just slightly patchy. I don't know that that's a problem of the shadow. I think I just blended some of it away. And I'm going to take the shade Cranberry on my finger and just intensify the lid a little bit more. I feel like the blue is looking just slightly a little bit patchy right in my outer corners. That could just be because I have layered like so many mattes on top of each other there, but I don't normally have that issue. Then I'm going to take a touch of the shade Soft and Sweet, which is the first shade that we used, and just run that over the very edges of the shadow. just to help it blend a little bit better. I find for me personally, going over like the edges of my eyeshadow with the transition shade that I used in the beginning just gives it a little bit extra blend, and it makes it look just a little bit better. And now for my brow bone, I'm going to take the shade Sweet Cream, which is that light pink shade that's not metallic. And I'm going to put that on my brow bone. I think I already said that though. Okay. Well, my beautiful, amazing, lovely camera decided to cut me off after I did my brow bone, and I just started on my lower lash line, which you really didn't miss much. I just took the shade Bittersweet all along my lower lash line, and now I'm in the process of blending it out. And now that I have that blended out, I'm going to take the blue shade Blueberry Muffin and put that all along my lower lash line closer to my lashes. Now I'm going to take that Blueberry Muffin shade on a little pencil brush, not a ton, just like a tap, and I'm going to blend that blue shade out. And now I'm going to take the same brush that I used for the transition shade and take the shade Soft and Sweet and blend it all around the edges of my lower lash line just to blend everything out. Okay, and now it's time to do the inner corner, and then we're pretty much done. I'm gonna take the shade Sugar Cookie. It's the really like light metallic light pink, and I'm not going to wet my brush or anything. I'm just going to take that on a little flat brush and put that in my inner corner. And I'm actually going to take that Sugar Cookie shade on my finger, and I'm just going to tap that on the center of my lid, like the ball of my eyeball. Sometimes I like to do this when I have like really, when I have a deeper shade all over my lid. I feel like it kind of gives a little bit more dimension to my eyes. Okay, and that pretty much concludes this eyeshadow look. So I'm going to quickly hop off camera and put liner and lashes on and my lips. And I'm also going to take the shade Blackberry, that black, and put that in my outer corners as well. Okay, everyone, so that is the finished look. I used the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in BFF on my lips, and I also used the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Fairy Floss because I am trying to use my lip products up before they expire in my drawer. Also, I'm once again putting out a plea to the world that if anyone knows of a dupe of the BFF shade from the ColourPop Lippy Pencil formula, please, I'm desperately trying to find a dupe for that. So my thoughts on the palette, I really like the way my look turned out. To me, this formula is the same as what was in the Rustic Glam palette. It's very consistent to me with what I've used in that palette. I used a pretty significant amount of shades. I used the shade Sweet Cream, Bittersweet, Soft and Sweet, Sugar Cookie, Cranberry, Blueberry Muffin, and Blackberry. And I just really like this. Like I said before, I did notice that the Blueberry Muffin shade, the blue shade that I used, is a little bit patchy in my outer corner. I think like I put a black over it so it doesn't look like that anymore. But I did notice that when I was blending, it was getting a little bit patchy. That could be because I just layered a whole bunch of mattes in my outer corner. That could be the case, but that being said, I do that every time I do my makeup, and I don't usually find that happens. So that's definitely something I'm gonna have to play around with a little bit more. Also, I find that her mattes are quite dense. They're very like thick to the touch, so I wonder if that's maybe the reason why, although like I said, I haven't really noticed that before. So yeah, her metallic shades that I've used anyway are very similar to the ones that I've used before. They're very creamy, easy to use, very metallic. I will say the Sugar Cookie shade, the light pink that I patted on my eyelids and also have in my inner corners, I did notice that gave me a little bit of fallout. I noticed when I was doing my liner that I had like some pink sparkle on my face, and I did get a little bit of fallout from the blue shade as well, but I was like going back and blending that along my lower lash line and stuff, so I'm not super mad at it, and it dusted away relatively easily. But yeah, I really love this color scheme as well. I think it's super beautiful. Obviously I have like a very bright colorful look on my eyes today, but I think you would be able to get a really beautiful range of neutral looks as well. You have like a mix of cool tones, warm tones, burgundies, purples, blues. Like this palette has a ton of different avenues that you can go down, and I really love that. I also think it has a really nice range of depths. I obviously love having a black in a palette, and you have some like deeper brown shades. This blue is not like a super deep navy blue, but if you mix it with the black, you can make it deeper if you want to, and I think it does build up as well pretty nicely. So yeah, I'm very pleased with this. I actually definitely can say that I like this more than the Rustic Glam palette, just because of like my personal makeup preference. I think this is a really beautiful palette, and I think it's permanent, although now I just feel self-conscious like after my last review video. So go check that out for yourself, but I know that this has been around for a while, so I think it's a permanent palette. I hope it is anyway, because I really enjoy it. And like I said before, there was quite a bit of kickback in the pan with the shadows. It's not something that normally bothers me generally with shadows, but I feel like with her formula, it's so much that I just feel like I'm blowing away so much of the shadow, so it makes me a little bit sad. But I think that's it for this video. Let me know if there is anything else you would like to see from me. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hopefully will see you next time. Bye! Is it matte? And I'm just going to... Jesus, the squirrels always scare me so much. Ow. Frickin' fuck. Okay.